Good afternoon. Welcome to Options Tender. It's Saturday. Happy weekend, everybody. It's September 21st, 2024. We're going to go through SPX. Just on the monthly time frame, I want to show you a big picture scenario, and then we'll go to SPY, multiple time frames, and then go around the horn, QQQ, SMH, VIX, and IWM. Okay, so thanks for everybody for joining me. I didn't do a video yesterday. Nothing's really changed, but on the 65, we have some important just things to look at, and we'll show some targets if you're new here. So, and we usually do these intraday. So if you want to get these intraday videos, I know it's the weekend right now, but during trading hours, consider becoming a supporter, even if you just want to support the channel by itself. Okay, so if you're new here, go down to that bottom right-hand corner, hit that Options Center logo, and subscribe. Let's go. We have SPX on the monthly time frame. This is the 1930 stock market crash. All right, 1929 going into 1930. So this trend line, we don't talk about this every single day. The top here at 2000, 29, 2000, and 2024. We're getting near that. Okay, so this is always a zone. I know I have a straight line here. We're not quite there. We have a little bit of room to the upside, and then we have some confluence from possible channels here, okay? So this leaves a little bit of room. Even if we get there this month or the next month candle, we have some room up here to 5,900 on here on the SPX. But if we adjust, look at the 2000 top. You don't need to use the wicks. We're at it right now if we do not use the wicks. If we use the bodies of those three touches there, we're literally at it right now. And we had a reversal off of it already, and we're kind of climbing there. So we have some room to the upside. We'll see how the candle ends, this candle or next candle. But just know we have some wiggle room there. And if we use the wick, we have some room. We'll leave it right there. So if we use the wick, then we have some room to the upside to about 5,900. And 6,000 would be our final target on that if we get a wick through there. And notice that that coincides with this trend line here from 2008. And that's the one we've been looking at for some time. And this also, that's much higher, but we have a channel here as well. So we'll be looking at the bottom of the channels later on. Now, you see the green lines. This is a little bit above anticipation that we go a little bit higher. It's around 5,800. So when and if we get to that point, we have retracements. Okay, so I do think that these retracements, this low is going to be tested around the 38%. I think that's a pretty obvious in the long run what kind of low we get. Probably get a significant bounce, and then ultimately, I think we'll be, trying to test either the bottom of the channels here. Bottom of the channel from that long-term trend line. There's lots of places we can go here. And ultimately, we could test the 2008, 2000 top there. It's possible. So I know those are huge moves, and I'm nowhere near projecting any of these. Just given a potential scenario where this 200 moving average could be, somewhere around the bottom there. That's right now. It's currently at the Corona crash, so it's at 2,200, and this could be a time or price. If this is coinciding with this market structure, that's a very sharp move. This one can be, it's still a big structure. This one could still have a nice large move, but it could be sideways for a while. This one was actually sideways, even though you had 50% moves to the downside. It was still ultimately a sideways move. So we didn't get a new high for many years. It could have been 13, 15 years or so. I don't know what the exact number is, but okay, I spent time on there. We're going to zoom through SPY, and we're going to go down to, so here's the 2000 top. We have the 2021 top, and we're forming a top here. We're getting above it right now. I don't think that's going to last very long. It could be this candle here that actually, this monthly candle, that could get a reversal as soon as the 26th. Okay, that's a very important number, the 26th, 28th. So that's next week. So we possibly could have a reversal off of this next week. I know that's quick, but we do have some time price relationships after that as well. So that could be early October. Let's go down to the weekly. Now we have negative divergence on all of these, and I'm not going to go through that right now. Here is a weekly time frame. We have this potential channel. I say potential because we only have one touch on the bottom and we haven't tested it back again. So if we going to next week candle, potentially 578, and even another week after that, or if we wick above it around 580, that's our target to retest this top here. We hit our final targets already, but clearly we're getting above here, and I don't think this is going to hold, okay? I think this is going to be, we have all these divergences, negative divergences. I think this is going to be a fake break, okay? So where do we get this these targets from? You had this big correction here, 2021, and into 22. And so with this, the retracements at the 127.2 retracement from this correction was our first target. And you see how valid it was. Fake break, big move down below it, and then got back above it and held it. Okay, so that's really, if the market's going to go any higher, that's what it has to do. We have a potential ascending triangle here. Price has to get above, and it did on the shorter time frames, but on the long time frames, we got to get above and hold above, possibly back test, and then hold to go higher, okay? That'd be real important for the bulls. We're at extreme valuations, so I just really don't think that's the case, but anything could happen. Okay, so we're going to trade. I'll show you the next targets. And, you know, higher time frames can have these wicks through these targets. So on the monthly time frame, we could just be wicking through it, or the or even the quarterly time frame. So and what happens, and this happens on all levels, this is fractals. I'll show you on the next board. But so we had this large bearish rising wedge, broke down from it, even had a throw over, broke down, back tested that wedge perfectly, and now we're looking to really just back test it again. So this is our time frame here, the 26th. That's what we're potentially looking for. This could take longer. If this wants to just grind to the upside and just have, doji candle, doji candle, doji candle, this can take more time, okay? But we have to keep in mind that we're in this window. All right, even if it doesn't touch here, then we can move even a little bit further out. So I would say, a good 2-3 weeks is possible, but just potentially, if we get to this target by the end of next week, that's it. We're gonna have some long-term puts on here. We're gonna have duration puts. We'll have some short-term puts if we're already at this level. All sorts of things going on here. The risk reward is just amazing at this point. Okay, and we have a count that kind of finishes this off anyway. Now looking at our targets here, just like we did for the 2021 correction, we have this smaller correction here. And we take our retracements. Our first major retracement is the 127.2, and that's the 580. So that's where I get that target from. Now, time and price, we had a couple individual ones happening, and we have the 28th here, 25th, 28th. So we have a couple. It depends when price gets here, whether or not we think time and price. Well, you see this huge, just massive cluster of time and price here. Wherever time and price is going in these clusters, I think something big is happening. So maybe it takes a lot more time, and that's around starting at October 6th. Okay, so I'm not saying that it has to do it next week. It could grind until 2 more weeks out. All right, so what happened last week? All that volatility. This was super important. And this is why I said nothing really happened, even though we had a down day. Some people might say this is a reversal. All that happened was this ascending triangle. We had a breakdown and then a gap up, a squeeze from the FOMC. And all that we did on Friday was retest the breakout. That's very natural. That's a natural occurrence. We expect that. And now we can have price move higher. So that was the important thing that I just really want to show today besides the long term. And we'll just show it on the lower time frames. Oh, let me show you the other board. This is kind of the pattern we're looking at. Expanding wedge. So expanding wedge, this is a ending diagonal. 3-wave move up for 1, 3-wave down for 2, 3-wave for 3, 3-wave for 4, and A, B, C, possibly testing the top of this wedge here for wave 5, going into 580. Okay, we get to that point. That's an objective short. That's huge. And that would be the wave C up there, which is the wave 5. And this is also a major wave 5 as well. Okay, 65 minute. On the 65 minute, you can see that's the wedge that filled out, broke down from the wedge, back tested, and now we have a new trend line. Seeing that we made new highs, we can build. We can build a new trend line here, and we're just back testing this breakout. Okay, and our test, it's not that far away. We're about 10 points away on SPY, 100 points on SPX away, and we can do that very quickly. So the structure, higher highs, higher lows, is still intact here. Very positive back test. We'll be looking for some more up moves going into next week or the week after. Now, with our Elliot wave count and Fibonacci's and the time ratios as well, right now we're looking for this to be an A, B, and the C wave should be a 5-wave move here, impulse wave. So we're looking at this being a 1, 2. We're finished with wave 3, but now we had a instead of going to wave 5, we have an extension of wave 5 into 5 more waves. So I think that's what's happening right now. I think that this is possibly a wave 1 here, all into FOMC shenanigans. Wave 2 happened, and then we're getting crisscross waves here. So this could be you never know with these shenanigans. It's hard to count things. So wave 3 could be over, or wave 3 goes up a little bit higher. So it doesn't really matter how you count this. And as long as wave 3 is not the shortest, then now you could say that wave 1 happened. You get the shenanigans. Wave 3 is in. And now we have an extension of wave 5 again going into our target. So that's what we'll be looking for. Doesn't really matter how you count it. It's all speculative anyway. But just know that we have higher highs and higher lows going through this. And none of those have been invalidated yet. So you have lows, higher low. This is a low. You had a higher low with the FOMC. Higher low with the back test of this 100%. That was our all-time high. So it's a back test of all-time highs. And now moving forward. So then you have the clusters at the 24th, 25th, 26th. Okay. And it just so happens that on the 26th, Powell is speaking. We have GDP. And then the next day, the inflation report. So a lot of stuff happening on Thursday and Friday. I think Thursday is the big day, and that just so happens to fall on some of that time, that time ratio, the time relationship that we're talking about. And so I think that might be, maybe Powell sets a peak. We'll have to see where price is at when that occurs. Okay, that's what I want to show you there. Let's go to the Qs. Qs broke out from this triangle. Again, higher low. Momentum still to the upside. Looking for a possible gap fill. And that would give us this look here. So the gap fill is at 494. It might be just a little bit higher. So 494 is the 887 retracement. It's a deep retracement, but it's still a lower high. And so we're looking for this to be an impulse wave down. for a 1, and an ABC for deep retracement for C, and then a very sharp move to the downside. So if SPY is at that 580 point and we're getting at the 494, if that's coinciding with each other, I mean, that's just, that's going to be a big play here to the downside. We will play it aggressively. And so now we're looking at this this impulse wave to end wave C. 1, 2, 3, 4 in here, and 5 wave move up for 5. And again, they had the shenanigans here. It's possible 1, 2, 3, 4, and an extension out to 5. Okay. What will that look like on IWM? We don't know. IWM could still lead the pack, and that's what I'm kind of looking for. And so the target area I have is up here, and it just so happens to be with the trend line, which would be the part of the ending diagonal we have here, and this would be an A, B, C up here. So a consolidation, fill the gap, and a little bit higher, but you'll have to really see the small caps ramp. So that's why we're playing GME, GameStop. It's speculative. We have Rocket, we have Lemonade, we have all these plays that are that I just kind of did a shotgun effect. Okay, 1 or 2 contracts of each. At GME, I probably have 8 contracts out, in time, and also automatic sells just in case moves are very spiky and big gaps, anything that occurs. I'm willing to take that risk in this type of environment where all-time highs are happening and you have a frenzy. That's a very typical situation. So ultimately, we had a wave 1, 2. This is an ending diagonal, 3, 4. And we're looking for an ABC for 5. Our target area is 235. So that's well over 10% of a move here. So this will really have to start gearing up. So we'll look for the catalyst. Maybe it does it by itself going into... I think we have a PPI Monday. We'll see what the catalyst is, but if this starts moving pretty hard to the upside right away, then we know that this is going to pull SPY to its new all-time highs, and tech should really start being shaky. Individual stocks, are going to start failing. They're not going to all be in sync. That wouldn't make sense for this whole move here. So, okay. SMH, I'm not even sure that SMH makes a new high. Okay, it looks like it's breaking out. You had the back test here, so it's on a good little market structure run here, but I don't know if it's actually going to hit any more targets. So we had the 682, right? So we had a possible 1-2 setup, and now even if this gets deeper, I'm not sure. Maybe it just retests the 62 and gets a double top here. Maybe it ekes out a new high, and that would be considered an ABC. Maybe it gets a lower high again. All right. But ultimately, if this drags up, and I feel like maybe just the semis drag the market up, drag the Qs up, while some of the big tech names are dragging or holding the rest down. And maybe this does get to the 786. That would be a final target here on SMH. If it chooses to do so, but we're not going to be playing any names there. We're done with the bounce and NVIDIA and stuff like that. Well, I still have a call on a couple calls on AMD. That's it for chips. And then the VIX. Okay, so the VIX is breaking down like we were talking about, and it soon might test this little trend line here. I'm not sure how valid that's going to be. I think we might close that gap at least. And then if price still grinds to the upside and it takes forever, VIX could still, form some lower lows here. And if we break this lower here, I bet you there's going to be divergence there. So we'll be looking for possibly even some lower prices in VIX. Not sure how much lower it's going to go. That's not the point, but if we're at different levels, we close this gap and we're already at all-time highs, or if we're down at this level here, close that gap, and we're at all-time highs, we're hitting our targets, then you better believe I'm going to be playing to the long side, because that's going to be a large wedge here, and then we're going to have positive divergence from this low, getting down to, and if we close there too. So I just look to see that VIX is probably going to grind lower while the market's moving. Just on the daily, just give you a look of that. So right where the options expected move here is at the 200 moving average. So that might be the end right there. But if it does get underneath the 200, we have another gap down lower. So just observing as we hit our targets on SPY and Qs and IWM, we'll be looking out where VIX is. And then we might go long VIX and short all of the indices, including some individual names. This is a big zone that we're getting into. All right, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for joining us here at Options Center. We'll talk to you soon. Have a wonderful weekend.